Hi everyone, and welcome to the AutoCharge webinar today. We are going to be covering AutoCharge, and this is a specific tool for those customers using Dynamics GP and Key2Act. And hopefully everybody can see my screen. And Faye is in the room with me as well. She's going to be monitoring our question board. So again, if you have questions as we go through the AutoCharge demo, feel free to type them in your question panel. And then Faye will let me know that there's some there, and we'll stop and answer those questions. All right, Faye, any other housekeeping things, or are we good to go?
I believe we're good to go, Cheryl.
All right, sounds good. Well, we'll talk about AutoCharge at a high level to start out with. First off, what is AutoCharge? AutoCharge is a new tool for customers who want to get in and use Service Invoice and have it add labor charges, discounts, or other costs to that service invoice automatically for you. And it's all based on rules. And so we'll get into the setup window so you can see all the different options that you have for setting up rules. But just some examples customers have been using in their AutoCharge setup is if you want to do a discount, because there's not a great way to do a discount today on a service invoice. And so for those that want to give a 10% discount after all the calculation for the invoice is in and all the billing amounts, this tool will allow you to do that. And again, you can pick and choose which customers you're applying that to. As well as I know there are customers who charge an immediate flat fee if they roll a truck to that customer's house. And so to their customer house. And so again, you could have that flat fee travel charge automatically show up on the invoice, so you wouldn't have to enter a transaction for it and post it against every invoice that you're creating. The other thing is labor, and again, it could go similar to that flat fee travel charge that you're putting on an invoice, is you could also add additional labor. So if you're saying, I want to automatically add 1 hour of labor if it involves X, you can do that as well with this setup. So lots of different flexibility for how you can use the system as well. So let's take a look at the setup window, because I think that'll help give all of you the best picture of how it looks. So if you go into GP and Tools, Setup, wsTOOLS, AutoCharge. This is our setup window. And again, we're going to be applying these to the service invoices. And the first thing it's going to ask you to do is specify a rule name. And again, your rule name and description are going to show up on the invoice. And so want to be careful not to use just an internal name, but something that externally could go out to your customers. So we, in our example, are going to do a fall discount, because we're going to do some maintenance on those HVAC systems, getting everything ready for the winter, and make sure that people do them early enough, so we'll offer them a discount in order to do it. So here I'm going to set up my name and description. Oops. All right, once I have those two fields filled in, I'll go ahead and say create that rule. And now you'll notice the second half of the screen we can access. Now we get into, so who are we targeting for this rule? So what customers, what type of service calls, all of those kind of options you can see listed here. If this is a rule that you're going to apply to everyone, choose the first option here called All New. And basically that means all new invoices that you touch going forward, well, you can get the AutoCharge automatically calculated onto them. And again, that may or may not apply for you. You might be having something very specific where it's a certain class of customers. And again, as you touch on each one of these, you'll see that you have the drop down based on your setup. So this is in our sample data, all the different customer classes that we have available. Same with like division. Maybe it's only a certain division that is offering up that discount. Again, you can go and choose that from the drop down. If you choose multiple checkboxes here, it has to meet both those criteria. That's what you're saying, this and this. Okay. For our example, we'll just apply it to everybody. But again, lots of flexibility, because you could even get down to the pay code, If there's certain price matrices you want it to be applied to, that's making those calculations. Again, I think it's lots of variety for picking those criteria for who it applies to. So we will say set to that. We're going to do it for all of our new ones. And now it's asking us, are you adding a fee? Are you adding a discount? Or do you want to add labor? And in our example, we're going to choose invoice discount. And now you see we have the option of, is that invoice discount going to be a fixed amount or is it a percentage? And we'll do percent. We're feeling pretty generous today. Let's go ahead and do a 10% discount. And then we're saying, okay, what category does that going to be posted to? And this is where it's going to get your posting account, is based on the category you choose here in the other cost category. So you might want to add one called discounts in this category, in this scenario, but I don't, so I'll just use expenses. It's going to use those accounts. And then applies to, you could have your discount apply to certain cost elements, or you can have it apply to everything on the invoice. And again, some flexibility there. So I'm going to say this applies to labor because we'd want to still charge them for all the material that we used while we're out there. But for the labor, we'll go ahead and take a discount. Okay, once all of that is in, we go up to our actions menu and click save. And you'll notice the window clears. So it's to make sure we still have it, you can use the find option. And this will show you all the different rules that you have in here, as well as you can print a report listing out all of these rules as well. So again, I'll just choose my fall discount and it fills in the screen for you again. I did have an Australian customer specific discount set up as well into that particular class. Again, just a variety of how you could use the particular discounts. All right, Faye, should we go try it? You got it set up, right?
Looks good to go.
All right, so we'll go ahead and switch over to our dynamics. Let's go, I think I got a service call pulled up here. Let's go into the invoice window. In this particular service call, I have already posted some costs. I got some equipment costs on here with a billable amount of $12.50. I have some labor posted in at $320 cost and $520 billable. So a total of $17.70 before tax. Okay, everybody sees that. The other thing to note on this window as you come into it, the post button up here and your batch ID are grayed out. And that's it's telling you, it's an indication that AutoCharge has not been run on this invoice. That's how you can tell when you enter this window whether it has or has not. And so for us, in order to run it, if I just went up to the additional and click to add AutoCharge, it's going to give us a message because we still have our service call in an open status. We need to change it to complete in order to run AutoCharge. So let me do that. Again, because we want to make sure you're really done with the invoice, got all your costs on there before you run AutoCharge, because once you do the calculations, it won't recalculate if you go add another labor charge, let's say in this scenario. All right, so I got that complete in there. Now, again, those are still dimmed out, that post and batch ID. So I will click Add AutoCharge. And what it's actually doing is going through and creating a macro with all of the setup information that you have given it and applying that into the other category, right? That's how we set it up. And in this case, it's using the expense to get the account numbers that it's going to post for that new transaction. And all of you should see on your screen now that we have $52 showing in other, negative $52, because it's a discount. So let's go ahead and drill in and take a look at that. Yep, here it says fall discount. And if you remember, that was the description that we gave the rule. So it's coming into here, and again, it will show up on our invoice. And we can just drill down on how it's created a manual transaction. It's got the dollar amounts in there for cost and billing. And it also has a note added by AutoCharge and the name of the rule itself. So again, it's making sure you understand where did this cost come from, whether it's positive or negative, so that you know later that, oh, this was added by AutoCharge. I didn't actually enter this myself. All right, close those up. Faye, I'm going to stop there and just ask, are there any questions in the question panel?
I do not have any at this time.
All right, so again, if anyone has questions who's attending and watching us walk through this, you can enter in questions on the question panel, and Faye is keeping an eye out for those, and she'll let me know as we move forward. Okay, so that was the first one. The other thing I want to show is now that we've done the AutoCharge AutoApply, your batch ID is open for saving as well as so is post. So then you can move forward. Okay. All right. Well, I am not going to save that one. Actually, I'm going to delete, and we'll do some more. Because that was fun. I thought that was fun. Faye, should we try another one?
It was really fun. Yes.
We'll get rid of that one. Get rid of our posting journals here. Okay, and we will not save the invoice. All right, let's go back to our setup here. Got my auto charge. All right, Faye, we're going to enter in a new one, and we're going to actually add some costs to our invoice automatically this time around. And so let's just call this a trip charge. Oh, I should have them match probably. All right, and again, we'll do create rule. Just for that invoice, we'll go ahead and say all new because we'll apply it to that same invoice. Now this time we're going to say, let's say it's an invoice fee. And again, we could say it's automatically $59 because I just made an appointment to get something fixed and found out that's, in order for them to come out, they're going to charge me $59. So let's go ahead and get this typed in here. And again, it's asking in what category of your other cost categories do you want that applied? And I'm going to choose trip charge. All right, I'm going to choose to save that one. In here, I'll show you the report as well. Let's bring it to the screen. And it's kind of, my screen's kind of hard to read there, but you'll notice that, yep, it's putting in, and you can print out all the different options that it's marking and the percents. There's my $59 fixed flat amount. All right, so Faye, do you think that's going to work?
It sure will.
All right, let's go back and find out. We'll close up that. Let's go back to the service call window and go into my invoicing window. All right, so this is the same invoice that we had pulled up earlier, again with the same cost. And again, we got rid of that one that we applied earlier, so we're starting out fresh. Our call status is incomplete, but in the complete status, but again, the batch ID and the post button are dimmed out because again, it's saying, okay, you haven't ran auto charge against this invoice and you need to do that. So I will go ahead and do additional, add auto charge. And there it goes. All right, I got $7. Huh. Does everyone remember why I'd get $7? Let's zoom in and look. We have two of them, right? Because we just set up the $59 one, the trip charge, to be added, but we still had the discount out there calculating on the labor for $52, that 10% of the $520. Remember? All right.
Oh, that was a sneaky one, Cheryl.
Yeah. So that's why it's coming up with a net effect of 0. So again, you can see you can have multiple auto charges applied to the same invoice. And you know, again, there's not really a limit, but keep in mind that it's going to stack on top of those and have all of those generate when you go ahead to choose add auto charges. So again, down to 7, those are posted. And then you would go ahead with your normal invoicing process. Like I could save this to a batch, I could post the invoice just like you normally do from a service call, service invoice process perspective. All right, Faye, good place to pause. Are there any other questions at this point?
Let me check. I have a question. It says, is this on, let's see here. Can you override and choose not to apply a specific auto charge detail on a specific invoice?
Yeah, so let's say it was a couple different answers for that. So let's say it was automatically applied and you're like, oh, I didn't mean that to go onto that invoice. You can delete it just like I did on that previous one. You can go in, highlight it like this, go back in, drill into it, and delete it. And then that will be reversing the transaction that it created and remove it from the invoice. Of course, you can always, from a rule perspective, make sure your rules are limiting so that it doesn't go to all invoices, that it only goes to the particular class, call type, price matrix, all of those restrictions we have in our window as well. Okay. All right, any others, Faye?
No.
All right. We have had some recommendations for some suggestions, I guess I'll say, to additional features for AutoCharge. And again, we love to hear those as well. And so anyone listening to the webinar, if you have suggestions, couple that I've heard, and I'll just throw those out, is, you know, more of a date range or an inactive button. Because so for example, the fall discount we have set up, and we'd be running that now, you know, to get those HVAC systems in line for winter. But then again, once you get to maybe November, December, you'd want to turn that discount off until next year. But right now, the only way is you'd have to delete the discount or make it not apply to anyone from a rule perspective as well. Okay. All right. All right. One last time, Faye. Anything else in the questions panel?
Nope. Not at the moment.
All right. Well, that ends our AutoCharge demo for today. And I, again, thank everyone for taking the time to attend. If you want to see a particular scenario ran through from an AutoCharge perspective, please reach out to our sales team at sales@iscorp.biz or myself, Cheryl@iscorp.biz. We would love to, you know, walk that specific scenario through, give you a demo, kind of explain again more in detail of all the different functionality that you want to use. So again, thank you. And this recording will be available as well for those who didn't get to attend in person, and we'll get that pushed out here in the next week. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.